Steal the Brainrot is taking over Fortnite completely right now because it is outperforming both Battle Royale, Zero Build, and any creative experience ever. This is going to be a massive video because I want to talk about this. There's a couple things that I want to show you within Fortnite, their announcements, Steal the Brainrot. I'm going to give my thoughts, and then a lot of the Fortnite community piped up and had a lot to say about this, so we're going to be taking a look at all of it for you today. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with many YouTube channels. So Fortnite ended up posting this. If you guys have not all seen it already, the new carnival event in Steal the Brainrot is starting. So wait, hold up, hello chat, is this admin abuse? And of course everybody has been freaking out that Epic Games is promoting, and we're going to get into all of it. They're promoting AI Slop, but we're gonna don't worry, we're gonna cover all of it for you today. Okay, there's a couple posts that I want to show you that are in relation to this before we actually get into my thoughts personally, and then again we're gonna get into the Fortnite community's thoughts. So Fortnite also tweeted this, bruh, that's a whole lot of brain rot. A huge congrats to Farron's FN and the team for hitting over 400k active players in Steal the Brainrot during their carnival event today. We continue on because again, don't worry, we'll cover it. Fortnite creators quote tweeted that and said, 400k? Whoa, we love to see it. Shout out to all of our creators making entertaining islands every day in UEFN, no matter how wild, wacky, or downright unhinged they may be. We can't wait to see what you all cook up next. And that in itself had people a little bit upset. This is one of the most important parts of the conversation though. Farron's had this to say, okay? We are happy to share that Steal the Brainrot on Fortnite is officially licensed from the original Roblox game Steal the Brainrot. We're excited to bring the experience to the Fortnite community and are grateful for all of the support as this journey continues. This is really, really, really important to note because, and again, this is something that I'm about to talk about with you because I want to give it all in one take here, okay? This is officially licensed, and historically I would have an issue with this because it is like a copy and paste from a Roblox game, but it is all legally okay. So what do I think about this entire situation? And I want to mention that before we actually end up talking about, just the state of Fortnite creative in general, I want to acknowledge that I think it's very important to note that I also have my own issues with Fortnite and Battle Royale and just with the game in general. I think that there is a ton that needs to be fixed with Fortnite's own modes and especially with Battle Royale. I completely agree there, okay? I know that I get the comments all the time now as I'm growing. I can be viewed as an epic glazer, but this is kind of besides the point of our topic today, okay? Before we continue on with this, it's important to note, like I just mentioned, that before we talk about anything, Steal the Brainrot is officially licensed. It's a direct port from the original successful Roblox game. So when people complain and cry about it being a copy and paste, there's no room case to be made there, okay? If it was some random copy and paste ripoff, I'd be right there with you criticizing and talking about how I do not like the fact that these people can get away with these types of things. I would not think that's okay, but it's not. It's legitimate. It's a legitimate cross-platform collaboration. And here's the other part of the conversation that people refuse to acknowledge and are kind of doing their mental gymnastics in order to find an issue with this. Fortnite creators, as we looked at, posted that the map hit over 400,000 concurrent players. Now, I personally wouldn't be surprised if those numbers are inflated to get more players online, and I know that's a conversation when it comes to Roblox itself, but I know I've talked about that in my other videos as well. I personally have no take on the whole bots and alt accounts thing that Roblox has going on. I'm just saying that I personally don't trust these companies, and it wouldn't surprise me one little bit if any of these player accounts that we've seen are made up. They're fake, okay? And honestly, with this one, even if they are fake, you can't deny the popularity of something like Steal the Brainrot over here. It's drawing in hundreds of thousands of people, and that's exactly what Epic Games wants to do. So it's important to acknowledge that this is successful and it's licensed, okay? Now I'm ready to hear about your outrage, okay? Because, and stay tuned, okay? Because we're going to be definitely taking a look at a ton of people's thoughts along with this after I present to you my take here, because we have a lot to look forward to, okay? People are calling this low-quality slop. Everyone's favorite buzzwords right now. Slop this, especially slop that. Guys, this map is doing exactly what it was designed to do, and that is to bring in players to Fortnite. All of this attention is a net positive for Epic Games. Something that I need to keep reminding everybody is that the online Fortnite community that is so loud and so pissed off about this entire thing is a very small minority of the entire player base. The majority of the players, just the people casually playing Fortnite, they don't care about any of this nonsense. They see, thumbnail as is, they see a fun-looking game with a bunch of players on it, and they jump in. And that's why I also mentioned earlier that it wouldn't surprise me if the player counts were fake. if you inflate these numbers, it's a lot easier to get new people to come in and try to play a map. Like, I struggle to play maps with 0 players personally. And guys, here's another thing that we need to keep in mind with this entire thing. Like, Brainrot style content often has a very low barrier to entry to players. It's designed to be like quick, easy to understand, and like doesn't typically require anybody coming into Fortnite to learn any complex mechanics or spend time figuring things out. The game mode is like, its accessibility is a big draw for a bunch of casual players, especially when it comes to a younger demographic, and it aligns perfectly with Epic's goal of attracting high player counts and engagement. This is something that Epic Games has been struggling with for a very long time, guys. Fortnite has always been historically a fairly difficult game to pick up, and this community has been talking about that exactly for a very long time. Fortnite needs to figure out a way to bring in new players. Like, here you go. This is the best way that you can do it right now. Now, you could argue this type of content serves a purpose. Like, it brings an entire new audience into UEFN, and once they're all in, they might come in and they might discover more within Fortnite. More complex modes, more high-quality experiences, as people like to talk about, you know? More people being on this platform, in general, is an incredible thing. 400,000 on this mode, guys. And we need to be honest here, guys, okay? And I talk a lot about this in other videos. I think a lot of people are being a little bit dishonest when they say that Epic should only promote, you know, the high-quality maps. And I agree. I am totally with you that it'd be nice to see some more variety. And I personally do know a ton of creators that, like, I would personally love to see brought to the spotlight. But you have to understand the business side of this. This is about profitability, and this is about success. They need to make their money, okay? If any one of you had a chance to partner with a massively popular creator or brand or game mode, and you knew that it would generate huge numbers for your platform, you would do the exact same thing. If you knew the best way to generate new players was to use generative AI, then I also know that the vast majority of you would use that too, and I'm tired of people consistently pretending like they would do otherwise. Yeah, some people might, but the vast majority probably won't. It's also worth considering the actual like volume of content being used in UEFN and Fortnite Creative in general, because for every map that leans into this Brainrot slot people talk about, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other incredibly diverse and creative experiences that are just been built by great members of the community. Epic promoting one map like this doesn't mean that they're just completely abandoning all forms of creativity. Like, I know that's the conclusion they like to jump in, but it just, like, you can highlight, they have in the past highlighted different made content too. Like, Brainrot is one data point in a massive varied ecosystem. Like, it's not the entirety of UAFN. Also, apparently, people are saying that the community has ignored all of the times where Epic Games has promoted regular maps in general. I can't speak on that much because I have seen them promote stuff in the past, and I've just never personally taken the time to, like, go in and look at the experience or who ended up posting it. I just wanted to acknowledge that there's a conversation that's been going around that as well. You hear people talking about that, like, well, Epic Games doesn't just promote this, they promote a bunch of other stuff. I don't know, okay? And I think that we also should be talking about that a lot of anger around this is usually misplaced. People are complaining that Epic is promoting maps with AI thumbnails just by looking at some of these replies. You can often tell by reading like one sentence that whether or not their opinion can be completely discarded on the matter, because it's evident that a lot of people don't know what they're talking about when they start complaining about AI, and especially when it comes to AI thumbnails. The world is changing, technology is consistently evolving, and whether you like it or not, AI and AI thumbnails are going to be part of it. And we've been through this before, guys, and like, for some reason, I have to keep reiterating, because every single time that I end up talking about this, all of a sudden, I'm the guy who hates real artists. I'm just acknowledging reality over here. I'm very, very concerned about the future of life with AI, truthfully, more so than probably, like, I'm being completely truthfully with you right now. Probably a lot more than people watching this video. I'm also personally affected by it. But I think it's important that we acknowledge reality, we think critically, and while we have had this conversation before, I don't want to make this entire topic like revolve around this specifically. As much as we can hate it, I'll say this. It's like staying on your horse and refusing to buy a car in the 1920s. It's a senseless battle. Everybody's going to be getting a car. You can't fight the development of technology. And we have to be honest with ourselves here, okay? A lot of people are only mad because they're looking for the next thing to be mad about. I've been talking about this for a very, very long time. You know, I've been calling it the outrage of a day for a while. Don't believe me? Just watch this, okay? I give this 3 days maximum before the community moves on from this. They don't care about AI. The vast majority don't care about AI, okay? They don't care about Epic's decisions. They don't care about the steal of the Brainrot. It's about getting those brownie points on X from like-minded people. That's what's going to happen. You know, they want to look all virtuous, looking for that next good old hit of dopamine as you, like, watch and feel proud about yourself as those likes kind of pile up for the things that you're saying. You're standing up against the big evil Tim Sweeney. And for some of these UEFN devs, it's important to note the emphasis on some, because I know a lot of incredible people in the space, and I know, like, a lot of this just comes down to mentality and anger, jealousy, because their personal map is getting a lot of attention. A lot of people pretend to get outraged and tear others down, or either that or like get outraged subconsciously because they can't deal with their own mediocrity, or are incapable of just being happy for someone when they become successful. That's a very real thing in this space. Like, guys, as a creator and as somebody who plans on getting into UEFN when the entire UEFN space one day, I see nothing but opportunity when these types of things happen. I am happy for all of the devs a part of this and their success. I think about the generational wealth they could possibly achieve, how happy they could be. I wish them nothing but happiness and success, and I see an opportunity for myself to accomplish something of the same one day. I would love to do that. I don't know why people don't think otherwise. Before, though, we move on to the actual, the community's thoughts with this entire thing, it's important to remember that this isn't the end of the world. Fortnite is not dying despite everyone praying for it. This specific map that everybody's talking about is just one mode of countless options you can play. If you don't like it, you do not have to play or even think about it. Like, nobody is forcing you to play this. I don't understand why people consistently make themselves play something they hate. Like, it drives me crazy, man. Like, this is something I was talking about earlier, okay? Even if you really truly are pissed off about Fortnite and Epic's vision and what's going on in general, just leave. And I truthfully don't mean that in a rude way, but like, by yelling about how mad you are on Twitter and still consuming Epic's product and buying their skins, it doesn't change a single thing. I actually posted about this the other day. I wish I had the post up for you right now, but I said something to the extent of like, if you want change, vote with your time and your wallet. Epic knows that every single one of you is nothing but all talk. You yap away every single day, but yet you still buy their emotes and still play their game. If you want change, you can actually take part in making an impact by not playing their game. If you truly have a problem with this, vote with your time and your wallet. Whether you like it or not, this whole situation is actually a very good thing for both UEFN and the entirety of the creative side of the game. It proves that there is a huge audience for this kind of content, and the vision that Tim Sweeney, and get ready, Donald Mustard, have already been it's already coming together a little bit. And with this, we get more eyes on Fortnite in general, and hopefully more people sticking around and transferring to other experiences and other people's maps, and this could be a success story for a lot of people on UEFN. I would love to see a bunch of UEFN creators get success on their map, and then hear something along the lines of like, oh, I came onto Fortnite because of Steal the Brainrot, and then I ended up coming back to your map. Eventually, as we see more success stories like this, that type of thing is going to happen, and that's incredible. So I think that, I don't know how long I've been talking for, but I think I went a little bit way too deep into just my thoughts in general, but forgive me, we are going to be getting into the rest of the community's thoughts with this today, okay? I don't understand the giant issue in here, and it's important to note again that I do believe that there is a conversation to be had about the state of the game when it comes to Fortnite in general. I understand that a lot of people are upset, on the content creation side of things. That is a conversation worth having, but everybody's talking like Fortnite is just completely doomed as usual. Sorry for the quick jump cut there. I had to turn my tracking back on. For some reason, it got turned off. But anyways, we're going to continue on, okay? It's not just about what I think, of course. I think I yapped way too long about that. I also wanted to get the opinion of the Fortnite community as well. We have a ton to talk about today, and I'm very excited for this, okay? I ended up posting this over on X. Well, this is next up on the conversation list. We'll make a video soon. Drop your thoughts below, and I will include some replies. Thank you for your time. If you would like to join the conversation, follow me over on X at Clen YouTube. You can find me through searching it, or you can find the link tree at the top of the description, or the direct links within the description down below. Like and subscribe if you have not already. We're going to be taking replies to myself, news pages, Fortnite, the Explore page. This was absolutely everywhere, okay? Let's get started with all of the opinions for today. Richie Tunes had this to say. Let's talk about today. A fun gameplay map broke the record for UGC Fortnite maps. The map is fairly high quality and playable for Fortnite standards. A lot of PR for Fortnite. PR is PR. Would it have been cooler if it weren't a Roblox one, even if it's officially licensed? Yes, but I would imagine, let's be real, game is game. Never hate the creator, always hate the game. Hopefully, in the future, they will do this more often and maybe not with one-to-one copies of other games. Peace out. A little bit to break down there. A fun gameplay map broke the record, which is awesome. The map is fairly high quality and playable. This is important to note too, because a lot of people have been yapping about this map, not understanding what the map even is. Well, I mean, you can understand what Steal the Brainrot is and like how the map works, but the map isn't just like you load in and kind of do nothing. It's a lot of PR for Fortnite, which I agree, PR is PR, and I would have liked it as well if it was an original mode. And this is where I can already see a lot of people that are going to get confused watching this video, or they're not going to watch long enough to, actually understand my opinion on the situation. Instead, they're going to start talking about it. I would prefer for it to be something that is not one of the Brainrot maps. But at the end of the day, this is a good thing for Fortnite. I'm on team never hate the creator, always hate the game. You can't blame people for chasing this type of profit. And this is where I was talking about people being dishonest. I think that a lot of people would. I think a lot of people who, stand on their moral high ground would do the same thing if the opportunity was presented to them. Hopefully, in the future, they will do this more often, maybe not with one-to-one copies of other games. And I would imagine they would do it with other games. Again, we've heard a bunch of conversations about Epic Games doing this for other maps. I just wish that I could think of some off the top of my head. I keep hearing that they've done that. I just can't say it for myself. Spacewalker had this to say. Never stop complaining about this. If you have a big account in the Fortnite space, this is your time to use that following to hold Epic Games accountable for being moronic. Keep everyone talking, keep everyone caring, and keep complaining about today. Now, I get the whole entire movement behind people don't like the idea of the metaverse. People don't like AI. I'm just saying that it's here. But I kind of agree and I kind of disagree with this. And I'm talking about this type of mentality because it's important to know that if you actually have a problem with this, you can't be part of the community that just forgets about it in a couple days. If you really, really want to make change, well, I think you should do a little bit more of what Spacewalker does. I think that you should remove yourself from the game, vote with your time, your money. If you get a big enough movement to do that, if you truthfully have such an issue with what Epic Games is doing, get a big group of people, a significant amount of people to stop playing the game. The only problem with this is I struggle to see that ever working because this is the vision. They've already got their 400,000 players. The only thing that is true is no matter how much we complain on X, no matter how much we complain on Twitter, online, make the YouTube videos, Epic Games is going to continue doing what they are going to want to do. But you know what? I respect the people who want to sit down and they actually just, put their foot in the ground. This is what I think, and I'm going to stand on that belief, okay? DBJ had this to say. I don't understand why this AI art thing is still relevant. Fortnite is clearly thrown out there they do not care about AI. If they cared about AI, they would not have done Darth Vader. No one's calling it art. It's a thumbnail that clearly a lot of players clicked on. Now, a video that I want to make in itself is diving into, because the thumbnail designer for the Steal the Brainrot map himself got into a little bit of hot water within the community, and I want to talk about that as well. But this is what I've been trying to point out for a really long time, guys. Epic Games does not care. Epic doesn't care at all about the AI artists, people. Epic doesn't care about anybody, standing up for what's right and standing up for real artists. If they're going to implement AI into their game. And I've talked about this in previous videos. If you have a problem with AI, if you have a problem with Epic Games using AI, and if you actually want to take a part in making a difference, which again, I unfortunately believe that it is a senseless fight, then you can't support this type of thing, because AI is going to find its way integrated into Fortnite more and more as time goes on. DBJ is right. They do not care about the use of AI. And honestly, the people high up are probably laughing at the people complaining about AI. I'm not laughing at you. I'm not disrespecting you. I'm just trying to do my best to acknowledge what's real over here, okay? Sandman had this to say. Anti-AI hate is funny to me. Where do we even draw the line? Because anything using machine learning is AI, and you're on a Google search and social media algorithms daily, so you're already using AI. Bro, even your PC, monitor, and phone circuit boards and microchips of the transport that you use are made by robotics and automation. I get that as a true artist, it's annoying to see AI stuff everywhere, but this ain't new. Grocery store workers hated the self-out checkout too. Tech always takes over. The best move is adapting and learning to use it in the best way for you. The thing is, I always agree with these things, and I keep saying these types of things, and nobody's actually listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth and translating that into, oh my God, well, you must hate people who do art. I don't know how many times I just have to say that's not true. I respect and I hate the fact that so many jobs are going to eventually be lost to this, but it's here. It's here, and what people are going to have to do is integrate AI into their art. Use any AI tool that you possibly can in order to enhance your art. And that's the only way that you'll be able to compete, and I hate that that's a thing. I hate it, but that's reality. What are you going to do? Are you going to not Google search anything anymore? Because the first thing that you see is going to be the AI overview, and you are not going to convince me otherwise. I know for all of you who are standing up against AI, I know for a fact that you are using that AI overview instead of looking around through a bunch of web pages. So that's the only part that it gets me. And they're like, oh, well, I'm not okay with this version of AI. Yeah, but you're still supporting the underlying tech and the development for it. If you really, really want to stick to your guns, stop using things that have AI in it, which is impossible because that's the way that the world's moving. You're stuck, and it sucks that you're stuck. I'm just saying it's a senseless fight, and it has been, man. Riggy had this to say in the Fortnite community. Why are y'all mad about this? It's the biggest mode at the moment, and of course, the only thing bringing people in the game in large amounts. Of course, it's going to be promoted like this. It's bringing people to the game. Why is that an issue? Because it's not my map. But again, I do understand why people don't like the steal the Brainrot thing, and we've been over already that it was fair to be concerned, and I didn't like that either, that, hey, this is someone else's game mode that you're just taking from Roblox and bringing into Fortnite. I don't like the fact that it was a copy, but then again, it got licensed, right? And it is bringing players to the game, and people coming to the game in large amounts is a absolutely phenomenal thing. You can't blame Epic Games for promoting something like this. Dustin had this to say, wait till they find out AI is used to detect medical issues on CT scans and x-rays. You know, it was pointed out to me a little while ago, and I wish that I could say who, because this wasn't my idea, and I've always kind of felt this to my core. It's just like, I'm like, oh my God, why have I never thought to conceptualize that in through my mouth while I'm talking about AI? So I'm going to keep the person's name absent from this because they're in the space. Because, you know, as soon as you start talking about AI, you get people like nipping at your butt, right? I bet you every single one of us, or you, or whoever it might be, or anybody that's against all of this, you know, tech development, I guarantee you that they'd be the first people that are begging for the AI that's better than a doctor to figure out what's wrong with your mom, to save somebody from your family from dying. It's going to beat modern medicine. It's going to be significantly better, and it's already being utilized. It's going to be better than any human at surgery. That type of stuff's coming, and until you're put in that situation, you'd say it's a lot easy to start sitting down and going like, heck yeah, we need to tear this entire thing down. But if you want like an accurate read on your CT scan, because as somebody who has worked in the field for a very long time, guys, I used to work, and if you're not familiar with the channel, if you're brand new here, I used to work in an emergency room. Human error is a very, very real thing. And sooner or later, robotics are going to perfect this type of thing. So my question is, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit down and abandon this too? You can't just then go, oh, but I'm not okay with this person using it for a thumbnail. No, you have to be okay with it, or you don't be okay with it. You can't just like flip-flop depending on the situation. Alex French Fortnite League said this to say, you disgust me. You're promoting AI with maps made in Roblox instead of promoting quality maps like Fracture Reshaped. Now, I would love to see more of something like Fracture Reshaped, because not only have I talked to a bunch of people that are in development for it, so I know a little bit. I'm not talking like, obviously, I don't know how the development process went or anything like that, but I know, or I have a little bit of a fraction of idea how much work could have possibly went into creating something like this, how much they care, how much of a passion project it is, how much money is going into something like Fracture Reshaped. I would love nothing more than to see Epic put that on the front page. I just understand why Epic chose to do Steal the Brainrot. That's going to get the most players. Fracture Reshaped, you can boost the player numbers for it, and I would love to see that, and I hope that Epic Games circles around and goes, hey, Genesis Studios, let's get them on the front page. There's no reason why they can't do that in the future, and to be honest with you, I don't know if it's ever been on the front page, because if Epic Games should be putting stuff on the front page, at some point, it should be that. When you have a community that clearly cares so much, you should see, like, if you haven't checked out anything that Genesis Studios has done, the passion that went into what they were creating is unmatched. You have to check it out. And that's something that I think that Epic Games should absolutely recognize. Now, with maps made by Roblox, we've already been over that, of course, right? They ended up getting the license, so there's nothing that we can say about that. Lachlan had this to say. Okay, cool, I'll just get the dev team to copy Roblox concepts one-to-one, I guess. The only thing that actually works. There is another conversation to be had when it comes to moderation with Epic, But again, they got the license to use this. You know, the problem is we get this advice through YouTube too, where you need to take someone else's idea, put a little bit of a spin on it to make your own, and you already know that you have something that's successful. It's going to happen, and it's going to continue happening, so honestly, Lachlan should be doing that, okay? Denny had this to say. This image is so embarrassing, bro. What do you mean AI Brainrot is surpassing the Fortnite Battle Royale? Lock in Fortnite. That's crazy. It's shocking to me that the numbers actually got that high. And this is where I was talking about earlier, how it wouldn't shock me if these numbers are fabricated, because if you see numbers like this, if people who do like steal the Brainrot, and with everything that's going on in Roblox right now, maybe and especially it's for a younger demographic, right? If their mom's not letting them play Roblox, they see that Steal the Brainrot's getting 269.6 thousand players on Fortnite, they might want to go check it out. It just I'm not above the idea that these player counts are inflated, okay? Hey, speaking of Genesis Studios, Rifty had this to say. My perspective of the Steal the Brainrot promo. Okay, first off, I want to make it absolutely clear that I do not agree in any way, shape, or form of usage of generative AI. It's not good at all. However, on the flip side, I have to say this. Epic is pushing maps that players enjoy. Some people forget that. The Fortnite community is far, far bigger outside of social media. This is something that needs to be acknowledged. And as somebody that's in the UEFN space, I'm talking as somebody like Rifty, not myself. I think that's incredible to acknowledge. Like, they're doing so good. And again, I would love to see their map pushed out, but they understand how this type of thing works. In my opinion, I do not personally like Steal a Brainrot, nor will many of you, I am sure, but you're forgetting the fact that there's thousands of children who play the game who may have that childish, goofy mindset in which this may be the game for them. Epic seeks out maps that the players enjoy, and at the end of the day, it's entirely the player's choice to play a map which they may end up with 200 to 400k concurrent players. On a more positive note, if Epic is starting to promote UEFN maps through other means of marketing, push promote notifications, specific news tab promos, future updates of said map, etc., that can be really cool and helpful for a way to push creators to even broader Fortnite scene and just gaming in general. I think that's an excellent way to look at it. A lot of people in the UEFN space need to start looking at it the way that Dylan is looking at this over here, because again, Dylan is the founder of Team Genesis Studios. Sorry, I knew that I wasn't. I had to brush up my knowledge on that. I had to look at his profile right there. I knew that he was really, really high up in Genesis Studios. I didn't remember if he was the founder or not. But as somebody who's involved in the space that much, that is a very healthy mindset to start looking at things. And it makes me sit down. It just makes me respect people more. Because you take it, you understand the business side of things. You understand what Epic Games is doing. Whether you like it or not, it's understandable for Epic Games to push this. And it creates opportunity, like I was mentioning earlier. It creates so many opportunities for people making such phenomenal maps. I can't wait to see what comes from this, and I hope Epic Games doesn't just give up. If this is a one-off and they stop promoting things in general, I will be very disappointed in Epic Games, and I will be outspoken about that type of thing. Watch me, okay? We have another post from PBJ over here. This is how it should be, actually. All Roblox creators should make a Fortnite map too. Hey, bring more people on. I would like to see that. Bring more creators, because you have a lot of people who are really good at what they do over on Roblox. Dustin had this to say. Let's be real honest with ourselves. Even if a AAA quality UEFN experience pulled numbers like Steal a Brainrot yesterday, people would still hate. Yup. The truth is, many times our hatred is fueled by envy. Don't let moments like this discourage you. Look at it differently. This means user-generated content has the power to pull those numbers. I don't understand how you can't... You look at a map that's getting 400,000 players, assuming it's real. You look at a map that's getting 400,000 players, and you don't see opportunity with that. You don't see, hey, maybe I can make a map, and maybe, especially if you're in the UEFN space. Oh my god. Why aren't they playing my map? Why aren't they playing my map? I put so much work in my map. Yeah, that might be true. But you could make something that could be this successful. How could you not look at this and see opportunity? And this part's entirely true, guys. Read that again. Take a second. Read it again right now. Even if AAA quality UEFN experience pulled numbers like Steal a Brainrot yesterday, people would still hate. The truth is, many times our hatred is fueled by envy. So true. Very, very well said. Lil Smurf had this to say. There's nothing wrong with promoting UEFN and creative crap, but this is just sad, man. So many fun games made by smaller map makers, and you decide to promote the AI Roblox knockoff. Disappointing. I personally don't look at it as disappointing. I understand, again, where people are coming from, that there are a lot of great small map makers that it would be nice to get that extra push, and it could be career-changing. And I think that Fortnite should be doing that. While it's not their responsibility, they should be doing that for the ecosystem, and it doesn't hurt them to do. That's the thing, right? They need to continue to do this because this is an incredible thing. Put maps on the news tab. And again, apparently they have been doing that. I just need to pay a little bit more attention. But yeah, they just keep promoting more stuff inside of this. Jojo Josiah had this to say. Growing up is realizing that Epic actively wants BR to be surpassed. They can actually take a they can finally take a back seat and stop trying to feed a dying horse. Huh. I don't think that BR is a dying horse. I think there's a little bit that Epic Games can do. Leaks being the biggest issue in Fortnite. I swear, man, if Epic Games were to take, like, and I'm not saying just start taking legal action upon leakers. If they were to say, hey, you can't leak blank, 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 and blank within updates, and they stuck to it and started suing people who leaked it anyways, because, you know, you're always going to have those bad apples. If you took care of the leak issue, Battle Royale would be perfectly fine. That along with the bots and the skill-based matchmaking. I don't think the Battle Royale is a dying horse one little bit. There are just issues of Battle Royale that need to be fixed. But do you think that Epic Games wants BR to be surpassed? That I'm not sure. I would imagine so. Because again, this is the vision. They want to make an entire metaverse. I'd love to know what you guys think about that one, because that's actually a very, very interesting conversation to have. Let's continue on to what Tay had to say. Meet potential platform. Oh no, it's Tim Sweeney. All right, it's funny. It's important to note, guys, while I like having these conversations, I can laugh at this type of stuff too. Just the Superman of Tim Sweeney gets me. All right. Sorry. Release more than 2 jam tracks a week? Delay custom items by another year. Dude, the delays are ridiculous for UEFN, man. Lulo had this to say. And they even made a whole tab in Discovery for it. I'm so done. I think that's a good thing. They just need to do it with more maps. I understand how cringe it is. I get it. I look at that and I think it's cringe too. I think the entire Steal the Brainrot thing is cringe, but you can't deny the success of it. But guys, we have, again, so many opinions to take a look at. Let me stop you for just a second. With these videos, I have been advertising my supporter creator code. So I ask that if you do not have a creator code that you are currently using in the item shop, please consider using my code Clen. I've been working as hard as I possibly can on YouTube in order to support my family. We're going to have more kids. This one over here that just joined us is also expensive with some bills. Just life's expensive in general, and you guys have been helping me a ton with that, and I really, really appreciate those of you who have been using the code. So I ask again that if you do not have a code that you are currently using in the item shop, you consider using my code Clen. It helps more than you can ever know, guys. Let's continue on to what that boy Dilly had to say. Honestly, any UGC game hitting 400k plus CCU is good, regardless of what game it is. Epic just did the biggest user-generated content push ever with a full banner in Discovery, mobile push notifications, and all over socials. Assuming Epic sees that creators need the ability to schedule events that players can add to their calendar and will appear individually for a user in Discover, connect with audience, mobile push notifications, etc., like they did just manually, so anyone can do that. I think that's cool. Yeah, if you could get that tool and actually bring it to a bunch of people within UEFN, I think that'd be great. I never actually thought about that. I was always thinking like, okay, Fortnite and Epic Games should be doing this type of thing. But if you give the UEFN devs the opportunity to start doing that with people, and people like having a calendar within Fortnite, that's really cool. I would really, really like to see that. That's a great idea. Let's continue on to Dylan TG. Some UEFN devs are so disconnected from reality in pursuit of money, it's actually horribly disheartening. This is tough. I don't want to assume what this one is about, because I do believe that there are a lot of people disconnected from reality in pursuit of money. But I don't want to start pointing my finger into what exactly like Dylan means. I will say though, if we're talking about a lot of, just making the Steal the Brainrot type thing, I still think that a lot of people given the opportunity would do the same thing, because that type of stuff is life-changing. I did see this tweet. Pro Zero had this to say: I'm genuinely so confused why everyone is so pressed, because people are having fun in the wrong map. Why are people coming over to my map? But honestly, like, we like to police constantly what people have fun with. I don't care who Steal the Brainrot. I don't care who checks it out. I don't care who loads into what mode. I log into Fortnite to play what I want to play. I like playing Fortnite Reload more than anything. I will never understand that. It's like Pro Zero looking at me and be like, oh my god, it's so easy to find Fortnite Reload within the Discovery tab. Why is that so easy? Why is not my map there? I don't care who comes in and plays Steal the Brainrot. I see players come into the game, and I can only hope that they transition to find things like Genesis Studios, for example. I would love to see that. Afovia FN had this to say: The community. Epic should do more to draw Epic should do more to draw new players and compete with other platforms. They should advertise more creative experiences and push user-generated content more. Also, increase the low player count and spend count so our payouts are higher. Also the community. Not like that. It's true, they talk about this type of thing all of the time. They consistently bother Fortnite and start talking about like why the Metaverse failed, why Fortnite failed, why Find It in Fortnite is such a bad idea. And then they do things to actively help that platform, and all of a sudden it's like, no, hold it, Epic. Creeper had this to say. Any game that isn't BR to me feels sad because we took away people who got degrees, laid them off, and then gave it away to Slop. Again, I think that a lot of people... the problem is the Slop is just a buzzword, right? I don't know that if most of the people even using Slop mean like, oh my god, Slop map. You get my point, okay? It's tough because there are a lot of people who do like games that aren't BR, but I do understand feeling sad about it. I understand feeling sad coming from the OG days of Fortnite and really preferring this game to just be a battle royale game with a solid storyline. That's what a lot of us really fell in love with. So I understand feeling sad about this transition with Fortnite, but at the same time, like, the change is happening and battle royale is still present. Like, the storyline's still good. It's just not as good, and I can only hope, and I do think that as time goes on, Epic Games will fix the issues that we've had for so long. Of course, it's always sad to see layoffs, but there's oftentimes a lot more than we know about when talking about this game. Oh no. We're bringing this back. I don't know if Justin was the original poster for this, but remember when this was going around like crazy? Is it time to bring this back and do a little Doom posting? LTM's gone. Donald Mustard has quit. Holiday events are lazy. Live events are done. V-Buck prices are increasing. Collabs are declining. Oh, collabs are declining. I mean, declining in quality, maybe. 16% of Epic employees are fired. Save the World is over. Epic owes players $245 million. Epic is now relying on creative. Fortnite is finished. This is the type of conversation that you see within Fortnite all the time. I will say, though, bring my LTMs back. I still miss those, and there's no reason why they shouldn't be there. And now, I'm not talking about the getaway ranked. I'm talking about, like, LTMs in their former glory. Klappa had this to say. BR isn't going to die because of this, bro. But Epic Games is a business, and Fortnite's demographic is big AF. Not everything is going to appeal to everybody. Very well said. Very well said. I'm tired of the conversation that Fortnite's going to die. It's not going to die. Everything is going to be perfectly fine. And if anything, this shows that Fortnite is succeeding in UEFN right now. People do need to understand that Epic Games is a business, and everybody likes to play different things. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to hate somebody because they like to play Steal the Brainrot. See, I'm sorry if I'm Swipey. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. It's painfully obvious that this was botted. Not even an hour after its peak, it sharply dropped by over 200k, back to where it typically averaged. Note, this drop happened around the time Fortnite advertised it. Stop advertising AI Slop. Try to be a respectable company. Well, to be honest, I do believe Epic Games to be a respectable company, but assuming that this is real, it's interesting how much it actually dove down. Even an hour after its peak, it sharped, and where was it? Oh, this is what I was looking for. This drop happened around the time Fortnite advertised it. Interesting. Again, wouldn't shock me. Wouldn't shock me at all if this was botted. Huh. But then again, like, I'm such a weird guy because then I think, like, okay, can we even trust this graph? You know? If you had a gun to my head and we had the right answer, right, and somebody was like, hey, is this botted or not? I'd be like, yes, those numbers are botted. And then hopefully my life would be saved. That's what I would put my money on, okay? Maddie Catgirl had this to say. The children deserve better. Live service games and their consequences have been disastrous for the gaming industry. Ooh. To talk about, yeah, you know what? I grew up on a lot of really, really great critically thinking storyline games. And I never really actually thought about that too much. The games that we grew up with, I'm 27 years old, the games that we grew up with are pretty well no longer in existence unless you, like, force your kid to play Nintendo. But even then, is that even cool anymore? Right? I don't know. I think everybody's playing the Steal the Brainrot type things. That made me a little bit sad. Yeah, we're not going to grow up on the Sonics or the Halos anymore. Aw. But yeah, it's the entire industry is changing, and I know these games do exist, and yeah, I would like to see children be more invested into older games. Not necessarily older games, but higher quality games. You know what I mean? Joel Jolly had this to say. Hey, this is the best way that you can speak. This is the best way that you can make your voice heard. I respect that. If you do, this is why something's over here, something like not interested. Vote with your time, vote with your wallet. Epic Games has a rating system. Hey, if you have a problem with that, that's how you should go about things. Riptide Realm had this to say. Of the community that still likes it and the player count reflects that, we have to remember that our opinions are subjective regardless of how much you think they are true. Hey, you know what? Some of the things I said, especially at the beginning of this video, are objectively true. But I understand. But then again, everybody would say that, right? At the end of the day, there are a lot of things that really, really are subjective. And everybody likes to talk about, you know, how they know best for Epic Games and all that. It's just, that could open up an entire conversation. But at the end of the day, it's fairly correct, right? What Riptime Realm had to say over here. Hypex had this to say about the situation. Also shows that they've been waiting for one of the maps promoted through the newsfeed and socials to pick up like this so they can give it a bigger push like today. It just happened to be the Brainrot map, so people neglected all the other maps that were given the same opportunity. This is the problem is, I just don't remember. I don't remember what other maps have gotten the big push from Epic Games. People keep talking about it. I'm sorry, I wish I could expand on that. I personally, I just really don't remember. But I'm sure it must have happened if a lot of people keep talking about this, right? And I can only hope that Epic Games continues to do something like that. Hypex continued on and said, that game to the left and other similar games has been out for 2 years with 0 CCU, by the way. I don't understand this fake activism on Twitter when nobody shows these games love when they also get promoted. Most people on here are just farm PR points, I swear. That last part's very true. And that's for Alucard said, promise future versus reality. Yeah, I forgot about this. You know what? That's actually a good point because Epic Games pushed this map like crazy. I remember jumping into it and not caring about it at all. But then again, I've also never jumped into Steel Brainrot. I would imagine this is still something that we'll get down the road as UEFN develops because I think that I think the potential for it is absolutely incredible. Yeah, that's actually a really, really good point by Hypex. I understand, though, that there isn't exactly a ton to do over here. But even when this came out, nobody really cared about it. People loaded in for just a second and ended up taking off. I remember that very clearly. But let's continue on over to the Fortnite community again over with Dongle. If you can't see where this is heading, we are all cooked. The focus is starting to appear no longer on the existing player base. It's on iPad kids and Roblox children. Some are older Roblox players. This version of the Metaverse will hurt it beyond repair. Yeah, but at the same time, those people are going to grow up and want to check out other experiences. I know that people, and it's been a thing since 2018, people have been talking about too, how Fortnite's a kid's game. It has and always was, or excuse me, it is and always has been a game for all ages. There are plenty of people of all ages that like to play Fortnite. You can check out a bunch of different theme maps within UEFN. Those numbers are only going to grow with time. There's a lot of people that grew up with Fortnite and still are adults at this point playing Battle Royale. Cluedad had this to say. I may not like the content, but it seems like a pretty savvy business move to me. Extremely popular game is having a content update that will increase traffic to Fortnite. Why wouldn't they promote it? As long as they're supporting smaller creators too, I don't see the issue. Fortnite doesn't always have to just be what one kind of player likes, as long as they don't lose the ethos of who they are. The problem is, a lot of people also think that Epic Games is kind of losing their identity to Fortnite, and to an extent, I agree with that. You know, something that I have always agreed with is that Fortnite has lost its charm. You know, when people use that word charm, I do agree with that, but I also believe there is a very, very easy way that can get that back. And that's why you should watch the complete guide to fixing Fortnite. We have 2 videos of that on the channel, one for 2025 and one prior, but both of them are very, very true still, okay? But how can people not look at it like this, man? I may not like the content, but it seems like a good business move. Why isn't that the common consensus? Doesn't make sense to me. Okay, let's continue on to the next post. Dig Realms had this to say. AI generated slop thumbnail, stolen game content, dead meme, mogged by Roblox, most likely botted player count. Again, we've been over this before. We've been talking about the AI. The stolen game concept, I would hate that as well. I would hate that as well, but it's been licensed. I don't know anything about the dead meme because the map's been getting a lot of players. But yeah, it's a couple things that we've already dug into. We also have another post from Cluedad over here. This is amazing. Whether people like the game or not, the fact is that creators are collaborating and correctly licensing concepts and ideas to bring their games to multiple platforms. It sets a great precedent and a wonderful example of how things in the industry should be done. Dude, Cluedad again. A very nice, normal, sensible take. I don't have anything to add to that post. But you know what I do have to add to? Let me pause you one more time because, again, we still have a lot to take a look at, guys. As you might know, I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. We make daily content on multiple channels. If you are interested, check out my links within the description down below or at the top description with the link tree. You can find any of my other channels. Again, we upload content daily. If you happen to like me, if you happen to like my commentary, background noise, whatever you want, we have our toes dipped in multiple niches on YouTube, and it's been nice to see a lot of bleed over. So if you'd like to take that chance, go check it out. I'll be over there waiting for you, okay? Let's continue on, and thank you for listening. Over to Archer. Genuinely insane to see them go from acknowledging and poking fun at how much they've abandoned their original game, then the very next day they promote something that encapsulates everything wrong with modern Fortnite. What's this? Okay, so it's a post by Fortnite. Fortnite, save the world mention. Get ready for those dungeons. Huh? Okay, and the next post is the new carnival event. Okay, that's the original post. I'm a little bit confused by this. Am I just stupid? Dungeons return next week and save the world. Fortnite, save the world mention. Get ready for those dungeons. Hang on, were they poking fun? Hang on. I guess they were. This has a lot of likes and a lot of views. Maybe I'm just dumb. I don't see it. I'm not dismissing this point at all. I'm just, hey, low IQ Kyle over here. Huh, interesting. If you guys could expand on that in the comments, I would appreciate it. Anyways, Just Russ had this to say. Stop trying to be Roblox. Everything with the PR, we're not going to repeat that word, is a disaster that they're going through right now. Get back to focusing on BR and making the battle passes great again, please. As I've said it multiple times throughout this video, I definitely agree that there is a lot of work that needs to be done within the Battle Royale game, and I would like to see those changes, and I can only hope that Epic Games implements those changes as time goes on. Their Epic Games is still their own thing. They have something that Roblox doesn't. They're not just trying to be Roblox. They're trying to be a Metaverse. But I do understand the people just saying like, hey, stop trying to be Roblox. They're trying to make it a Battle Royale and a Metaverse type thing, which I guess at the grand scheme of things is a Metaverse. It's just, they're more than the Roblox wannabes. I personally have liked the last couple Battle Passes, but there is a lot of filler that we didn't get in Chapter 1 that I would like to see back again. So I think that there needs to be a lot of focus on BR still, and there needs to be slight improvements within the Battle Pass, but we still do have a lot of content. We do have a lot of content within those Battle Passes. Dig Rome's had this to say. Donald Mustard looking at what Tim Sweeney has done. I don't know to what extent Donald Mustard wanted this, Metaverse to go, but this was the plan for Tim Sweeney and the plan for Donald Mustard. This was something that they've planned for Fortnite for a very, very long time. It's just, I don't think that Donald Mustard would have liked to see the sacrifice of events and things like that. Snowy Anonymous had this to say. What's with all of the hate with Steal the Brainrot? It's a bloody incredible that a creator-made game by a small studio has the opportunity to compete with AAA game content that Epic can produce. Just shows the future is bright for user-generated content. It might not be a game you specifically enjoy, but clearly, millions of other players are loving it. If they didn't love it, they wouldn't be playing. Crazy. I know. Like, this is another one of those where I have nothing to add to that. It's just like, it's a sensible take. I don't understand why people don't look at this and that's the default thought. It's crazy, but a very, very respectable take over there. Restro had this to say. It's not all of Epic, it's mainly Tim. He has an insane fixation on Roblox and wants to make Fortnite a better Roblox, which is just only making the game worse. But again, the problem is we're still in its infancy. It's going to be better with time. It's crazy to think that Epic had literally everything in Chapter 3 and the future looks so bright because of Tim's actions, things have just become so messy over the course of the past 3 years. They still can get BR back to the Chapter 3, Chapter 4 era. I would love that. And I'm still on team, hey, there's problems in Battle Royale we need to fix. But we can do that and have the Metaverse at the same time. I don't know why everyone's pretending like Battle Royale is just completely finished. The player numbers are still phenomenal. We had one day, and I'm not saying that Restro said this, we had one day where, I don't know what the numbers are right now, but okay. We had a small period of time where user-generated content did better than Zero Build and Battle Royale. Good. Battle Royale still has like 100,000 players online at a time. People are acting like that's not a good thing. That's like a majorly successful game. CEO had this to say. Was this video worth your time? What video? I would imagine the game, but I would imagine this is what CEO's going to be voting in when it comes to the Steal the Brainrot mode, which again, hey, that's the way to make your voice heard instead of yapping on Twitter. I completely respect the people who are making their voice heard that way. Nebula had this to say. It's the AI stigma and Epic's direction with user-generated content. People are envious and dislike AI, but it's a competitive industry, so use the game theory. Honestly, Epic's mission is to provide tools, a platform, and an economy for games in a free ecosystem. It's challenging, but they're pushing it. And these types of things take time. Again, the UEFN in general is still in its infancy. Roblox, and I can't, crap, we looked at it in the other video, but I can't remember for the life of me how old it actually is, but it's something like 20 years old. People are comparing UEFN right now to Roblox, which has always been a metaverse. It's been established for 20 years. You can't compare something that's new like Fortnite right now to that. That's not fair to do. And I'm not saying, again, Nebula has to do that. It's just, I agree. People are envious. People dislike AI. It's going to be okay. And Epic will succeed in their mission. They've succeeded in a lot of things so far. They will succeed. iTalk had this to say. I have seen this. I've never been more serious when I say this. I'm debating on quitting Fortnite. I did watch iTalk's video about it, and iTalk's one of those guys where I understand the mentality of it in the sense where you really, really miss the way that the game used to be with the Battle Royale and the storyline and the community coming together within Battle Royale. But then again, with the community, we still had these issues all the time. We still had to hear in Chapter 1, Season 5 about how the game's dying. This, you know what? What am I talking about? The same conversations. Again, it's the same thing. Just take your couple sentences about the game being dead and all of that, scratch out a couple words, replace it with Metaverse. It's the same conversations that we've been having. And honestly, normally I would say, okay, guys, if you're just talking about quitting Fortnite, then take off. I understand, I've said this in my other video, that when it comes to creators, there's a conversation to be had, and I understand why people feel trapped into making Fortnite content, talking about Fortnite, and playing Fortnite. I get that, and it would be sad to see iTalk go, man, because I really, really enjoy his content. Loot Station said, actually crazy numbers. It's crazy how this game mode has taken over. I know. Right. Oh, no. All right, Loot Station. Yeah. Throw me off a balcony, too. Loot Station's always finding himself with some hate, no matter what he says. T0 had this to say. You guys should focus on making your core game modes actually fun to play instead. Well, I'm personally having a blast with Fortnite Reload and Fortnite Ballistic right now. The new Ballistic update has been phenomenal, and it's important to note that they do care about their game. There's just more that they need to do specifically within Battle Royale, which is a very important piece of the puzzle because Fortnite's kind of known for Battle Royale. But all of the side modes that I've been playing, I know that there's a phenomenal LEGO community out there. I don't personally play the LEGO mode, but a lot of people over there are happy with the state of that. I'm very happy with Reload, and I'm extremely happy with Fortnite Ballistic right now. The Squid Grounds Reload map, let me pause you for a second. I forgot about that. Epic Games supported all the Squid Game stuff. I remember seeing promotion for that everywhere with all of the user-generated content. That's something that they did. I was trying to remember this entire time, a time where Epic Games actually ended up promoting the user-generated content maps, but they did end up doing that. But what I was going to say is, the Squid Game map is literally my favorite Reload map, and has some of my favorite POIs in Fortnite history. I can't wait to jump on and play Reload every single time that I get on this. Kyle had this to say, I love the idea of Epic using the newsfeed to help creative islands more. I would love that. But here's the thing. You always have these. The problem is that 99% of the islands are pure garbage. How can you say that? And I'm speaking for Steal the Brainrot, okay? How can you say that if 400,000 players are on it? Assuming that the 400,000 player number is true, and I would imagine the number's high regardless. I just don't know about 400,000. I need to pay more attention to what they're actually end up promoting. But yeah, I hope that they continue this, and I think that they should do this for their community. Richie Toons had this to say. Yo, Roblox creators, can you guys make some quality game modes that we can join? It's been a while. Hurry up. I don't know anything about what modes are popular over at Roblox right now, but that's the advice you get on YouTube. You take an idea that's successful, put your own spin on it, and pump it out, okay? Dylan TG had this to say. Epic needs to make a decision right now about what they want their game's ecosystem to be. There's no integrity here. Yes, it makes money, but it's sad to see that they allow this to even exist. If this is it, it's not going to succeed, even if it makes some money in the short term. I don't know what else to say besides people have been saying the same things. Again, copy and paste. You know, Epic Games is going to fail. Fortnite's dying. They're making the wrong decisions. But, excuse me if you can hear that super cool guy revving his engine outside my window. No matter what they're doing, it's been met with criticism. Epic Games knows what they're doing. They're going all out on this, and you need to give it time to develop. And right now, this map right here has been majorly successful, and it's only going to succeed more as time goes on. Mako said, congrats on the players, and this is the type of crap they're pulling to promote the map. You know what? I'd be curious to see what the numbers would be if they weren't doing that. But actually, that's really funny. I didn't expect to see that. Ragna had this to say. Look, putting everything aside, the Fortnite promotions, its Brainrot, etc., 400k active players is amazing regardless. It's great and huge congrats. Looking at the base value is great. I won't comment on the negative side that people have with this. Yeah, we like to talk about the player counts dropping. That's been the conversation the entire last 2 weeks. Oh my god, Fortnite's player counts are dropping. Epic Games does something to bring on 400,000 people at the same time. All of a sudden, it's the worst thing under the sun. What happened to Epic Games needs to bring people back to the game. What happened to Epic Games needs to do something drastic to bump the player numbers back up. It's just because, oh, they should have done a live event. This is more effective. And this is coming from somebody who I would really prefer to see multiple live events this season to get the job done. But this is more effective. You have to understand the business side of this. People acting like Epic deleted BR. Excuse me if you can hear my notification, right? Yeah, it's still out there. You can still play Battle Royale. You can still play Zero Build. You can still play tournaments. You can make money playing ranked Fortnite. Sorry guys, Twisty Chase has been blowing up my phone. I needed to put a pause for like a good minute over there, Twisty, if you're watching this. This guy. But yeah, like Fortnite's still a thing. You don't have to pay attention to UEFN at all, and you can still play a great Battle Royale. Keatcraft had this to say. I deleted the last tweet. Fortnite didn't make the game. This definitely seems like a desperate attempt to mimic Roblox's success, though. I feel like Fortnite should focus on being Fortnite and making a good BR content rather than becoming a dollar store version of Roblox. Right now, it can't compete with Roblox, but in time, it will. Everybody likes to talk about like, oh my god, they're so desperate to mimic Roblox's success. They just want to be another platform. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know. Have you ever done anything? Like, it's like, I don't know. If you start like, it's kind of like how I'm viewing this entire thing is if you're like playing basketball and then you're just like trying to get better. You're just shooting some hoops for fun. Well, like with the goal of getting better, right? You're practicing your 3-point shots. And everybody's like, oh, I think this guy wants to be LeBron James. Like, that's kind of how I look at this when everybody starts talking about it. But the problem is, I personally still think that they could succeed with just BR content in general. So I understand where people are coming from that. But there's also nothing wrong with the Metaverse vision that they have right now. Tay Blurry had this to say. Steal the Brainrot now has more players than the top 3 main Fortnite modes combined. Is this good or bad for the future of Fortnite? This is good because all of these modes are still majorly successful. To have over 100,000 players playing 3 of your main modes at the same time, along with 400,000 on a user-generated content experience, that is beyond incredible. 100%. Clappa had this to say. Breaking news. Game with millions of players is trying to cater to its vast player base and not only one section of it. I think we saw another post from Clappa earlier. Very, very good. Very good. VXRX had this to say. Bro, Fortnite should just remove UEFN at this point. They're turning into Roblox and all their UEFN maps are just doing better than the main game. Plus, what's so fun about a dumb Brainrot game? But the problem is, I don't know if the user meant to say that they should just delete Fortnite. Delete BR Fortnite and just keep the entire thing the Metaverse. They're turning it into like a Roblox type thing. Everything's going to be successful, and I have complete faith that Epic Games one day is going to continue with the success of BR and fix those problems. They're just putting a little bit more of the UEFN right now. But then again, there's been great seasons, great updates. BR's in a great state too. Blortson had this to say. Ignoring all the crap of Epic giving them special treatment, do y'all think the map is bad because of being related to AI Brainrot or because of the gameplay style? The vast majority of people did not load into this mode and have no idea what they're talking about when they're talking about like, oh, it's low effort slot map. They have no idea if it's low effort. They have no idea if it's actually a slot map. I'm not saying that about Blortson. I don't even know if that's what Blortson's asking, to be honest with you, but it's a case for a lot of people. But if you want to talk a little bit more about the player counts, then why don't you check out this also, another big video that we did over here talking about the initial player counts dropping, Roblox, and all that stuff. I'd love to have you over there. Thank you for watching, everybody. Take care, guys.